Take a mental sheet of paper and put it in front of you. Draw a line down the middle, and at the top of each section, write in your mind's eye, all my virtues, and then the other one, all my vices. Do you think it's going to be a lopsided list? Under your vices, what would you put? You can kind of think along with me as we go along here. If you have any vices, you know, you're impatient at times, you're lazy, you pretend you know, thoughtless, arrogant sometimes, revengeful, unkind. All right, now let's get to the virtues. You are kind, you are patient, you are gentle, you handle yourself, pretty well in a rough world. Kind of gets all mixed up together, doesn't it? So that you don't really know which you are, except from one minute to the next. But that means that you're not just one person, does it? It means that you're how many people? 20 people? 50 people? So you don't know who you are. You don't know whether you're good or bad. Well, I've got news for you. You listen to this now. Look at those long lists on the virtue side and those long lists on the vice side. Long, the flattery that we give to ourselves on the nice side, and all the self-condemnation on the vice side. Look at the long list. Let's just say, for example, that there are 20 on both sides. You don't know, you really don't know, none of you seated here, that you're none of them. You really take, just as a bare beginning, you take the idea about yourself as being yourself. You settle for, this is what I am in the morning, this is what I am at noon, this is what I am at night. Good heavens, no wonder we're torn, because we're all these people living inside of ourselves. What are we going to do about it? If I have 50 people living inside of me, what am I going to do about it? Well, unless someone tells you different, you're not going to do a thing about it, because you're perfectly content. The world is perfectly content living in the illusion that you're one person one minute and another person the next. This is the way the world lives. This is the way you and I have lived up to this point in our life. Is it not changing every minute? And being in the despair of not knowing which one I am or which one I'll be the next minute. And unless you really know which of these many people inside of you you're going to be the next minute, you're not going to have control of any circumstance. Do you know why? Because this idea that you have about yourself that's going to handle that business problem or that domestic crisis, how do you know that that's the one that's going to be in charge of you when the crisis comes up? You don't know it. And this is what frightens you, that you really have no self-command. And the reason we don't have self-command is because we don't have self-knowledge. We don't really see, as often as you may have heard that your name is Legion, you haven't grasped it fully to simply notice from minute to minute how what you are, your moods, attitudes, beliefs, convictions, angers, viewpoints are changing every second. But you never notice. Now you take my word for it. You don't notice when you shift from one self, one viewpoint to another, to its opposite. You don't see it. If you could begin to see it, you could then begin to see how you are not one self-unified person. And having seen that, You could then begin to realize what I said at the very start. You take both sides of the list, erase them all, because you are none of these people at all. Neither the good person nor the bad person. A little illustration will make that clearer. Imagine a country where everything is foggy. People walk down the street, they bump into each other. And when they collide, they both apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, I knocked you down. I was bad, I knocked you down, but now see how nice I am for picking you up. See, already in this little foggy country, people have developed a good person and a bad person. I'm sorry I knocked you down wandering in the fog, but I picked you up, so I'm a nice person. Already two people. Where's the fog? By this time you should know that the fog is where? I'm going to give you a little chance to work. Where's the fog? Well, you point to yourself and you say it's in you. How come you complain? How come when you go out into that foggy country, which we're all living in, how come when someone knocks you down, you get resentful and angry? A person who really clearly sees at the start, as his own work experience inside himself, sees that the fog is in himself. If it's in himself, then he sees where the correction is. Then he sees, listen, that everything he does out in that fog, when he knocks someone down and is bad, and then says, I'm so sorry I knocked you down, here, let me help you out. And he sees that the goodness is a part of his own foggy nature. He is neither one of them. He's in a terrific crisis now. Are you making connections at all, what we're talking about? If you see that you, in your present behavior, your actions, are acting like a blunderer, a bad person, or acting like a rescuer, a good person, if you can see you're acting like that, you can then go beyond it, but not before you see that first, because now you're attributing to yourself the power to do something. You are attributing to yourself the power to do bad things and the power then to do good things, to pick the person up. Don't you understand, as long as we are in this spiritual, psychological, mental, emotional fog that we're in, we will always attribute to ourselves the power to do good or the power to do bad, which is the way the whole world is run. Now you go ask truth, you ask God for the answer to this problem, and truth will say to all of us, look, you didn't knock that person down, and you didn't therefore be the good person who picked him up. Do you know what did it? The fog did it. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. If the fog did it, then I didn't do it. No, you didn't do it. The fog did it. But look. Well, where does that leave me? Who am I? Oh, that's so simple and so marvelous. I'm the fog. My very nature is the fog that knocks you down while blundering around, and my very nature is the good person who picks you up, both being the fog. And add to that, if you think that you can do good to another person, that you have goodness in yourself, are you going to look around for another good person to help you? Obviously you are. You're going to look around. Well, how many have heroes? Huh? None of you have heroes. Huh? How many of you have saviors? How about spiritual saviors? Someone you're looking up to save you? All right. How many have enemies? That's a little more popular, isn't it? Don't you know? Don't you understand? Count your number of saviors, 20, and that will equal the number of your enemies because of the level. You see, where it has to balance. Negativities balance themselves, divide themselves into half and balance themselves. What I've said to you in the first 10 minutes is dreadfully unacceptable. Do you know how unacceptable it is to each one of you here? I'll tell you. You didn't hear a word I said. You don't know that. I do. You don't know that you didn't hear a word I said. I'm not talking. How many have good hearing? Yeah, I know you have good hearing. You understand the English language. There's a part of each one of us that the last thing we want to do is understand this. Because you'll have to give up being your own savior, won't you? Do you understand that there's a part of you that insists that you're going to save yourself, rescue yourself? And don't you know that this is a part of the foggy nature that says if I come to class often enough or read enough books, then I can add something to my old nature which will make it better. This is the way you're talking. If I can just add truth to Chuck, to Juan, to Joan, if I can add truth to Vernon, if I can add truth to me, I'll have it made. This is religious talk. This is philosophical talk. This is talk that will never change human nature because it means that the individual has refused to give up the idea that he can rescue himself. He still wants to believe that while he's done bad, someday he can do good of himself. This is one part of the fog, to put it in a different way. One part of the fog talking to another part of the fog, if you can imagine such a thing, and nothing happens. The stumbling and the breaking and the smashing continues. Look at your life today, and you will see that you were walking in a fog with your friends, with your boss, with the people you work with the people on the street. They collided with you, and you collided with them because there was no light in either one of you, but you never thought about that. You never ever think even, I'll tell you, you don't give much thought even to thinking about the simple principles of darkness and light. You know why? Because darkness doesn't think about light. It doesn't want to think about light. It wants to remain darkness, which means there's no effort involved, nothing for me to do but get angry at the checkout stand or I haven't been mad today. Envious. Let's see, let's get the vice side a little longer. Tricky. If you begin to think in simple terms of light and darkness and begin to see what went through you when you checked out at the market there, what went through you when you saw you were overcharged down there, what went through you when you saw that the future presented itself to your mind and you begin to worry about it, you can see that there's something in you that even likes the worry, the fog of worry. The fog of worry gives you a good deal of satisfaction to get the thrill of bumping into someone and getting the false. You think it's not fun to bump into? How come you continue to do it? How come you quarrel with people? How come you clash with yourself in your own mind? Why do you think you continue that? This is your fond place to live, the place where nothing is required of you. No going against the tide, No making any effort on your own, but just sitting back in a class like this and listening to a talk. And going home and reading books and dreaming of some miracle that's going to change you. How sad that we don't understand, and we can't understand at the start, obviously, that there is a miracle. If you're walking in the fog, stumbling in the fog, getting hurt and hurting other people and getting false pleasure out of hurting other people and false pleasure out of being hurt by them. If you're walking in the fog, what else exists for you? Nothing. So you come to a class here and you hear someone say, start to think in terms of light and darkness. Start to think in terms of light and darkness. Fine. I can think about the darkness. Oh no. You don't even do that. You know why you don't think about the darkness? Because you're enjoying the suffering from it much too much to begin to consider the possibility of the alternative of light in which there is no pain, no suffering at all. That's why the exploration of the fog itself, of everything that goes on in it, is a first step, and the only possible first step that any of us can ever take in order to understand. When you understand the fog, the darkness, then you understand the possibility at first of something else besides that, which is the light. Perhaps I better go back to a elementary principle. As long as you love the agony, as long as you love the pain, as long as you love the quarreling, as long as you love the resentment, as long as you love the feeling bad about things, this is all you will treasure. And if you're not very, very careful, ladies and gentlemen, this is the way you will continue the rest of your life. The one answer to that is to come to a class like this, or a book in a secondary place, and let yourself be rebuked to the point where you begin to question your ability to either be a bad person or a good person. Now you tell me, I'm asking you, you answer me, Sally. You tell me who you are right now at 7:15. You tell me who you are right now if you're not good or bad. If all your goodness, your ascribed virtues, all your badness, your hatreds of the past, if all of these were to suddenly disappear from within you, what would you call yourself? To whom would you refer your daily experiences? Who would you talk about? What would you be? What would be your center? What would have interests? What would have motives? What would have ambitions? What would have pains? What would have regrets? You don't know, do you? And the reason you don't know is because you're trying to figure it out. You are trying to save yourself by frantically, swiftly, and in puzzlement trying to find what your identity would be if you didn't give it to yourself, by calling yourself either good or bad or anything else. I hope that you have got a very faint clue in the last 60 seconds of seeing how frantic your feelings and your mind are. how you search real fast and say, if something was to take away my sins, my terrible deeds of the past, or my accomplishments in making money or being a good father or a good parent, if you're going to take that away from me, what present do I have and what future do I have? Can't you please, you're going to have to grasp and see. Do it tonight to see how frantic you are to find out who you are. And when I tell you that truth wants to take away your belief in your goodness and your badness, take away your belief in the future, take away your belief in the past. When truth wants to do this, can't you begin to look at yourself right now and see how confused you get? And I want you to go further than that. I want you to see how you're deliberate. Yes, it's deliberate. Going into confusion is the wall, is the buffer, which prevents you from seeing something that would horrify you if you saw it. You put up the wall and refuse to follow me very close in this talk because the wrong part of you, the foggy part of you, senses that it is being led into danger. Exactly. That's the purpose of this class. For all of us in the fog to say, as afraid, as resistant, as stubborn as I am, here's my hand, truth. It's shaking and I'm pulling away, but take it and drag me, if necessary, against my will, into dark places I don't want to go in order to end the dark place. If that's what happened, but I don't know that. This is why it's necessary for truth, God, to tell you that there is a way out, that there is a light place. But the Word doesn't give you the light, does it? No. The Word does tell you to take the hand of truth, let it shake all it wants. Its hand is steady. Yours is shaky. Its hand is steady. It knows what it's doing. It knows where it's going. It has no darkness to go through. It has no darkness to go through. It has done it. It's done. But it's taking your hand and leading you through there. Now back to your self-investigation, looking inside of yourself. Tomorrow, I want you to do the following. You're to look at your behavior. You look at your responses. You're to look at your reactions. You're to look at your whole inner structure and to simplify it. And we must simplify it at the start. I want you to notice how you are indeed projecting a big sheet of paper in front of you with a heavy line down the middle, and the top it says vices, and at the top of the other side it says virtues. And I want you to watch how all day long, back, forth, vice, virtue, vice, virtue, vice, virtue, in one way or another. And at the end of the day, when the page is filled, you could even write them down if you wanted to. That'd be good. At the end of the day, I want you to remember what you have done. You have written down imaginary vices and imaginary virtues. None of them belong to you. Even your vices don't belong to you, not in reality. They belong to the fog. They belong to the state, the wrongness, the darkness, the misunderstanding, the refusal to grow that I'm presently in. See that none of them belong to you. And oh boy, if you go far enough in this, your terror is going to get to the point where you'll want to go out and mow the lawn or watch TV for a while. Your tension is going to rise. Do you understand? I'm asking you now. Do you understand? You do, don't you? Why your tension is going to increase if you go this far? That is, if you refuse to accept both sides of the page as you, as being a description of Joan or Joe, if you refuse to accept this, the mind comes to an end. You're afraid you're going to die. And I'm telling you that that is a lie. You don't know it. This is why you do. I know it. I know what you're doing. I know how you refuse to come to an end to self-descriptions. I know why. You're afraid you're going to vanish. You're afraid you won't know who you are anymore. Beyond this is something that never ascribes anything whatever to itself, neither badness nor goodness. It's not caught in the conflict of the opposites between self-praise and self-condemnation. Now, I know what you're all asking, whether you're aware of it or not. You're asking, if I erase both sides of the page, then who will I be? And you understand, do you not, that the question is wrong? Do you understand that as long as you ask that question, you're still frantic? As long as you ask the question, who will I be, that you have refused to erase both sides? See, you want to play it safe, you want to guarantee, you want to make quite sure that the past that you have depended upon to be someone is still going to be your ally and your friend, so that you'll feel secure. But you don't feel secure, so see the illogic of that. To be truly born again, to change your nature, to be someone else, to be free of yourself, comes to you when you've understood this all quite clearly, and the very understanding of that puts an end to thinking about it, to thinking about what you should do, because we've already learned this evening that you can't do anything. You can't do anything against yourself or for yourself. What you can do is understand that everything you've done up to your life up to this point has been wrong because it was done in the fog. That's why it went wrong, because it was done in the fog. But there is, whether you understand it or have experienced it yet, there is such a thing as light. To understand the fog is to begin to walk in the light. Take one particular point, and then we'll have a break. Have you ever noticed in yourself the insistent need to always be in the right? Little things, big things, medium things. I must be in the right. You are wrong, I am right. Wouldn't that be a good place to start, and to see that it's not the being right on the everyday level that is important to you at all, but the psychology of it, the need to prove to you that I am right. And even if you prove to me right in to my face, prove absolutely that I was wrong, I'm still okay, because I can still insist that I'm right while feeling that I'm wrong. Now I've got a double deal going. But at least I'm the center of things. At least I'm someone who refuses to admit that he's wrong, who insists that he's right when he's wrong. At least I'm that. See, this false identity that we've built up with such hard work over the years is not going to yield very easily to anything. It's not going to yield easily to the pure truth that you're getting in this class. It's going to fight with you. It's going to lie to you. It's going to make you want to leave this class, not come back to this class. And it succeeds with many people. Conclusion. It is a good thing for who you really are to see that you're neither good nor bad. It is a bad thing for who you are not to stay in your present state. Clear? Clear? We'll have a break, and after that we'll ask questions and discuss it. All right? Let's see how this hits you. The problem with rebuking someone for foolish behavior is that he is stupidly unaware that he is behaving foolishly. His unawareness is the same as his foolishness, but he does not see this. If he was in a state of awareness, he would not be in a dangerous state of stupidity and foolishness, but he also cannot see this. Such a conceited person behaves foolishly everywhere he goes, but not realizing it, he will always meet correction from others with resentment and hostile accusation in return. Just notice for yourself how true this is, and start with noticing it in yourself. A person who has doomed himself to fearful sneering will refuse this self-watching and will, of course, be unaware of his refusal. I'll read it once more. The problem with rebuking someone for foolish behavior is that he is stupidly unaware that he is behaving foolishly. His unawareness is the same as his foolishness, but he does not see this. If he was in a state of awareness, he would not be in a dangerous state of stupidity and foolishness, but he also cannot see this. Such a conceited person behaves foolishly everywhere he goes, but not realizing it, he will always meet correction from others with resentment and hostile accusation in return. Just notice for yourself how true this is, and start with noticing it in yourself. A person who has doomed himself to fearful snaring will refuse this self-watching and will, of course, be unaware of his refusal. Unawareness can't see itself. A cat is unaware that it's a cat. You can tell a cat, hey, you know you're a cat? He'll go meow. But that won't mean, yes, I understand. A cat has no awareness outside of himself. He is what he is, which is a cat. It's the same with human beings who only think their way through life, who only think, that is, they think memorized thoughts about themselves, about other people, of what they are owed and all that. Thinking can't be awareness. They're two different states. Thinking has its place, we know that. But you can't think about yourself and free yourself. The very thinking about yourself is the chain, is the prison. Which means, as I explained earlier, that the ending of self-thinking, self-centered thought, conceited thinking, I-thinking, the end of I-thinking is necessary if I'm ever going to be aware of myself in a new way, in a high way, in a way that frees me, listen to this, in a way that frees me from every single worry on earth. See? Now you know why you don't give up your worries, don't you? Because you don't want to give up your supposed self, the illusory self, which is so valuable to you, and which wants to even cry out for help, cry out for a savior. Because you think that you have a certain amount of strength and wisdom in you to save yourself, you will project that outward to other people and say, ah, that preacher, or that author, or that elected government official, or that friend, or that lover, they can help me, they can save me. Why do you attribute more intelligence to another person than you do to yourself? Well, you don't know what intelligence is at all to begin with. What you do know is what you want. And what you want, what I perhaps want, is for someone else to do the work for myself that I refuse to do for myself. I just want to continue to think my way through life with all its contradictions and its problems and all its pretenses. I don't want to make any effort. You do it for me. And I'll tell you what, if you will do the work for me, or even if you promise to do it for me, if you promise to do it for me, I will like you. And even if I don't like you, I'll pretend to like you. I'll vote for you. I'll give you what you want if you will give me what I want. And what I want is for both of us to live in the fog of self-deception in which I have no responsibility at all. You have the responsibility, but I reserve the right to hate you if you don't make the decisions in favor of me and make them in favor of someone else. There's something else besides thinking your way through life, ordinary thinking. You can call it consciousness, you can call it awareness, you can call it higher understanding. And that comes only as you become daring, as you become brave, as you put down your defenses of wanting to fight, of wanting to get something on someone else. Are you willing to exchange the thrills that you get from emotional incidents, excitements? Are you willing to give up the emotional excitement you get in exchange for something that you don't know yet? Are you willing to find out what happens when you get the thought in your mind of a nice piece of something exciting, and you want to rush to someone and tell them all about it? Did you hear? Can't you see the excitement you're getting when you first think this, and you picture in your mind calling that person or seeing them in person, and did you hear about this or that? Are you willing to start experiment by sacrificing that in order to see what will take its place if you don't do it? You'll have to repeat this experiment not 10 times, not 100 times, not 1,000 times, but every day as much as you can. Give up the pretty pebbles so that the diamonds can take their place. But we call the pebbles diamonds, and so we refuse to give them up. All right, you're on. We have quite a bit of time for questions and comments. Raise your hand, please, before asking a question and be acknowledged. Keep your questions short and to the point, and don't mention your favorite book or teacher. You're on, yes.
The last part of the word project you gave is not clear to me. You said to make a list of all our swinging back and forth all day long.
What isn't clear to you?
The part where you...
The part where I explained it. All right. Either mentally or on a piece of paper, actually with paper and pencil. Down the middle is the thick line dividing the page into my vices, my virtues. And either mentally or with paper and pencil, as you go through your day, you will write down your vices and your virtues. And you will think that this is describing you. It's not describing you. What it is describing is your mechanical behavior as you stumbled through the fog of the day, as your fog-bound mind operated in this world. But you still say, if you make a hostile remark to someone, you make a hostile, or you even think it. See, The thinking is the same as the saying, isn't it? It's just another way of expressing it. You say, over here on the vices, hostile remark. Now, when you look at that, you're going to make them, I know you're going to make this mistake, but you have to start somewhere. You're going to say, I made that hostile remark. I must be a dreadful person, and being a dreadful, hostile person, I'm going to have to be a non-hostile, good person. Well, I guess I am some of the time, because over on the other part, I said something nice to someone. I was polite to someone. I was courteous. I opened the door for the lady as she went through. Nice little act. What you don't know is that both, when you're in the fog, now listen to this, when you're in both the fog, the dark fog, and in the light, in neither place, in neither condition, do you do anything at all. It is all being done. But on what level is it being done? We are born into this world to understand. We're born on the foggy level, the mechanical level. This is the first thing we have to understand. Therefore, I never do anything from myself. I only do it from impulse, from compulsion, from desire, from hatred, from nervousness or whatever. I don't do it. I have been taken over by all these dark forces, and they act in my name. So I didn't do anything. And I understand all this, and I walk out of the fog into the light, and I still don't do anything. What has happened is that I have ceased to attribute the power of doing anything to myself when I'm in the light. I used to think when I made that success, or I made that woman, or I made that man, or I made that money, I used to think that I did it. Having worked, having understood, I walk out of the mechanical level, out of the darkness, into the light. That has disappeared because the light shining on the darkness makes it disappear. And now I understood the mistake I was making in the past, but I don't make it now because I understood that even while I described myself as someone who could do something, it was only a description, therefore not a reality. Now I'm in the light and understand that. I see that God does everything. There is only one power. That all the movement, even when I raise my hand as I'm doing right now, I don't do that. I am not God. God does that. It is a force, a power, and an energy most certainly that is doing that, but I don't do it of myself, do I? You don't do it. You don't do anything. I don't do anything. We are indeed a part of this cosmic whole. We are acting within it. We are giving, we are receiving, but we are not givers or receivers. Did I answer your question? You're on. Yes, Mark.
You said we have the same amount of enemies as we do saviors. What I connected with that is I spend the same amount of time admiring people as I do hating people.
Yes, that's very good. They do balance themselves. Therefore, as the saviors disappear, the enemies disappear, and vice versa. Because you have no need of them. Because they, with their respective positions on the both sides of the page, are disappearing too. You're erasing them through understanding. You see, Juan or Pat or Vernon or Chuck or Joan could hate someone, see. But it is really not even Vernon or Juan hating someone. It's simply an action of hatred to which I have attached the name. Because the hatred makes it appear as if I am a hater. I love being a hater. I'm someone. I'd rather be a lover. There are more benefits from that because the world is living in phony love, see. But in either case, I can't lose. So the hatred itself must not be identified with, or the love. Then the world is yours. And you know why the... All right, you're on for questions or comments. Yes,
On
Linda.
the question I've spoken to you the other day, was that done in order to find someone to save me?
Say that again, please.
The question that I spoke to you a few days ago,
Yes.
was that done in order, in my subconscious, to find someone to save me so I know what to do myself?
Partly. Now, you're going to look, you have to look inside of yourself and all the rest of you to see if there's even just a little bit of flickering candlelight of light that asks the question. If a candle can ask a question, I don't know how, but ask the question because you really want to know. Now, that little part may be there, but I can also guarantee you that the rest of it is darkness that is asking the question, yes. So it's a combination of things. Also, I have noticed, and maybe you have noticed, and you can begin to notice it in yourself, that there's a good deal of dramatic satisfaction in asking a question. I asked a question, therefore I must be seeking. I must be sincere. And maybe you just love the sound of your own voice in public. Or you're trying to convince yourself that you're brave. The rest of the people sit here in stunned silence, but you're the brave one. You speak up. You're a leader among men. And among women too. Yes, Leland.
Knowing that there's nothing to win, we can be sure there's nothing to lose. So here's the question. I'm sure that what you're talking about, this you are the world, is what in the scripture is called the glory of God. Would you talk about that a little bit?
All right. How many of you have glory in your life as it now is? Not much. This absence of a feeling of rightness, of being in the light, this absence is both a torment and a call, a yearning. It's where we have to start. Absence of glory, which is a pretty fancy word. This absence of glory, because we don't know what real glory is, forces us to invent substitutes. How many live in daydreams? Let's find out. These daydreams that you live in become our substitute glory, and they're all, have you noticed that they're always in the future? Even if you're thinking about them, you're thinking, well, maybe someday it will be what you call a reality. You're trying to build it up by imagining it and so forth. As artificial glory vanishes because we see that it just keeps us in the squirrel cage running around and around again, we come to an end to the misuse of imagination, the misuse of our mind in general, the misuse of memory. Let it fade out until there's an empty space there. No artificial glory and no real glory, because you don't know what it is. I'm using the word glory deliberately since he picked it out, but you can call that light too if you want. There's a dark passage between the old and the new, a dark passage. You remember this. And the dark passage can occur, if you're real smart, you'll let it occur 50 times a day. Maybe you get a little bit shocked in this room, or you get rebuked somewhere by anyone. At the moment of rebuke, that is a dark passage that you can enter into fully in order to understand it. And you will understand that what the other person said was challenging your assumption that you were right, that challenged your assumption that you are right. Why did you get angry? Because you were wrong, pretending that you were right. Well, maybe I was wrong. Do you know it's beautiful to be wrong? I don't know anything more valuable than just being wrong. I'm not serious. I'm not trying to be dramatic. It is beautiful to be wrong. because it's the beginning of the end of the punishment of remaining in a wrong state. And you can begin to feel it. You can sense it. So I crack up, so I'm disgraced, so you see through me. So what? I see through myself all day long, and that's my hell. I see through my phonies. I sense it. Why don't I face it fully, come face to face with it in order to destroy it? Don't, look, have no concern with what happens to you. What you call you deserves no concern. There's no consideration, no time, no value, no valuation. It deserves nothing. Let yourself go. Don't be afraid, or if you're afraid, do it anyway. Go ahead in your fear and let yourself go. Man, woman, you call yourself alive now? You know you're not alive, don't you? Don't you call that agitation life? Don't you call that bitterness life? Don't you call that worry life? You know what it is. It's not life. Someday I'm going to go home and sit at my typewriter, and at the top of the page I'm going to put 10,000 ways to tell people that it is good, not bad, to give up their assumed self. And then I'm going to write down all those ways and come back to all these meetings and go through 5 of them a night, and maybe one of them will be just right for you. And then you'll take that step in fear and trembling of letting go of who you think you are. As long as you think you are something, you will indeed have to have saviors and enemies. And have you ever noticed in your past life how your savior suddenly switched over into the enemy? Huh? That shows that both of them originated in our distorted thinking. There is one Savior, and he has no opposite, and that is God, truth, reality. Choose the term you prefer. You're on. Pat, please.
As long as I have to have virtues, then I must have vices.
Absolutely.
And life will punish me equally for both.
Absolutely. We're punished by being good as well as by being bad. Right?
These are only ideas.
Ideas about me, you. Dottie.
I was going to down because it came to me, and I felt it several times. The more I try to see the truth, the more demons seem to be there to tear me apart again.
Oh, yes.
I don't understand.
Well, just a brief review of that. When the devil has got you down in his hell, and he's got you working down there, he can sit over in a corner and put his feet up on his desk and drink cool drinks. I was going to give a commercial. I decided not to give him free commercial. A cool drink with his pitchfork stacked over in the corner. He's got you fooled into thinking that this is where you belong permanently. This is where you may be. But he makes you think you belong there permanently. Because the hell has a certain fire to it, which is false light. And he tells everyone who he gets down there, you see that dark passage over there? That's hell. You stay here in heaven where it's light. See the flames of light around it? So we call the hell heaven, when in reality heaven is on the other side of the dark passage. So as long as he has us down there working, deluded into calling this my heaven, making a lot of money, a lot of excitement. Boy, my candidate's going to win, or I'll run for office myself, or whatever. No battle, right? He's got you. He could sit over there and snooze half the day. But if you begin to hear a voice coming from way, way up there in heaven, reaching down into the hell, you begin to hear the voice that's saying, challenge that devil. You go over to that dark passageway and you enter into it. Don't you listen to what the devil tells you. He's lying to you. The devil is a lie and the father of lies. Don't you listen to him. As you begin to, the devil, you may think he's asleep there, and he does. He takes the cat. But man, he's watching you out of the corner of his eye every second. And I know you're understanding it, so it's all right to be light. He's watching you eye that dark passage, and you're in conflict. You're both afraid and yet wondering, because this voice is telling you it's not harmful to enter that dark passageway, and yet the devil told you that it is. Who are you going to believe? Well, you've believed the devil all your life. Why change masters, see? And yet this voice keeps, doesn't it? Come on, do you know this? That voice keeps talking to you and whispering through, trying to get through, and you can't get it out of your mind. There's a part of you that wants to, but you can't. And a part of you that wants to hear more, but you're afraid to hear more. Because when you know that you're going to have to, you're going to welcome more hearing, that means you're going to have to go into action. And you're afraid of that devil over there because you know that if you put down your shovel, no, what do you do? Yeah, shoving coals to keep hell going. You put down your shovel, shoveling coals, and you put it down, his hand, you think he's going like that, see, his pitchfork, he's going to reach for his pitchfork. And you're afraid he's going to grab it and he's got you. Now look, this is a horrible conflict to be in, and you'll wish you had, at times you wish you hadn't heard that voice, because at least you were happy being hellish, see? Now you're in the second stage of the beginning of conscious conflict. And this takes a long, long time. This takes many, many years, just this stage, where you're hoping the devil will go asleep long enough to let you slip by. Oh no. I meant to answer your question. Not only will he awake and grab that pitchfork and hold it out, but he'll call all these little assistant devils as imps around to surround you. This is why it seems to get worse. They're always there, always ready to jump at you, but why waste energy? They're not going to waste time on you when they don't have to. They're out grabbing other people and hauling them down. The time will come when you enter that dark passage, to keep the physical illustration going, as you have the courage to enter into it. Heaven is on the other side, but you don't know that. This is why it's dark, because you don't know what's on the other side and you're falling apart. When you're taking the first step inside that dark passageway, you are, of course, leaving the devil and hell behind. And this is when your worries just begin a little bit to fall aside, to disappear from you. But this will be very real. Nothing will be more real to you. In fact, it's the first thing that will be real to you in your whole life, that your inner nature can be different, it can act different, it can feel different, it can know different, it can be in command of itself without thinking about the word command. It can know without thinking, do I know? It can walk without asking, should I go left or right? It always knows, because it's its own path. If I want my path, then I have to, all day long, I have to figure out, shall I go left, right, south, north, east, west? What shall I do? I have to do that as long as I've chosen my path to self-justification, to self-glory, and the rest of it. If I give up my path, then I am my path, and there's no division, and I'm on the way. And you are on.
Vernon.
Yeah, let him change. All right.
Connecting everything you just said with time thinking, isn't memory, thinking from memory, what keeps us working for the devil?
Yes, exactly. And one of the memories we have is that we are inescapably trapped in hell, in ourselves. That's memory thinking, and it's a lie, because you are not. No human being is inescapably trapped if he wants out. This is what we're trying to do, to arouse the urge to get out. Yes, Jim.
We can't trust our minds to get us out.
Right.
Now, you mentioned one time that in your writing, you went through different phases, and now you said that you only write when you feel like it.
Yeah, sure.
Now, are your feelings more intuitive than your thoughts? And was it always so?
Oh, it all works together. I have to think what I write. How can I put words down? You know, I learned the alphabet at one time, so I have to put words down. But there's also something that is not mental operating too, and that part comes down and says, use this word or that word, change this, revise it, because both the higher part is working clear, and it comes down and makes the mind work clear on the everyday level.
All right, the question is, though, that were your feelings always right? I mean, so you could listen to it, in other words, to tell you what to do and when to do it?
Since I was born?
No.
I don't know what you're getting at, Jim.
Well, you write when you feel like it.
Yes.
Okay, now a person says, well, okay, I'll work when I feel like it, or I'll have to go.
Oh, if people worked when they felt like it, they'd never work. Do you know what the greatest pleasure in life is? To be one with yourself, and to take that self down to the office, to take that self out to the park, to take that self to a meeting like this, and be free because you're walking freely. Does that answer a question or not? Now, I'll add something else, make it clear. Everything man touches, he wrecks. He wrecks such a simple thing as home construction. If this was a sane world, every human being on earth would have a home the size that he wanted, that would be convenient for him. If he was a single person, he could go out and buy a home made for just one person. They can only do that accidentally now. Why don't they build homes for just a single person? It's not profitable. I mean, a house selling $50,000 is more profitable than a house selling $20,000. Everything that man touches, he distorts, including food distribution. Why there are millions of people starving? Because man is insane. He wants to make money off of the goods of the world instead of having just enough for himself, which is all he needs. You only need one roof. You only need a certain amount of food a day and all that. But we all want more. In order to call that more me as the success. I cornered the market in pickles, right? Pickle King of America. I can't eat that many pickles, but I like the title. It's a crazy world. Let's see. Let's find out how much of this insanity in the world did each of us contribute to it today by being insane ourselves. Do you know that as long as we're walking in darkness, in the fog, that's all we ever do? Don't you know, I've told you this. I see you with your facial expressions. You're contributing to the insanity of this world just by your facial expression. And I know it comes from I know this sour look you have in your face comes from a sour spirit. Why don't you change your spirit so that your face changes too? And it will, effortlessly. So that you won't have to think about it. What's the expression on your face right now? Are you aware of it? You can be. Go through your day asking, what am I looking like to the other person right now? And you'll understand why they look horrified at times. Some of you want a little inside secret on this class? Not too far, huh? I look out here and I see little tricks that some of you play in this room. I see intimidating looks at times. I see frozen face looks so that I can't read what you're really thinking. I see you refusing to smile and be pleasant. All kind of things are going on here. I see, and most of all, I see confusion. You're on. We have 10 minutes more. Yes, Pat.
Well, what you've been saying is, I don't have to be me.
Yes, you're not me.
What a relief.
Yeah, what a relief. Isn't that right? He says he doesn't have to be me. Right, because you're not. You're not you.
So it doesn't make any difference what happens to this.
Not to the ideas about yourself. You can enter eternity if you don't care what happens to you. If you care what happens to you, you'll keep yourself in time, which is the worst thing that could happen to you. In trying to save ourselves, we lose ourselves. But if we lose ourselves, we'll save ourselves. Right? Margaret.
Yes, what actually happens, you have to come, I suppose, to a point where you really feel and accept you're a nothing. And then if you're a nothing, then you're something. I don't.
Well, yes, we understand what you mean. You can't go around saying, I'm nothing, I'm nothing. That means you're something.
Yeah, but what are you saying?
Right. The absence of thought about yourself is the only authentic being no one. The absence of thought. Now try that on. Have you noticed yourself in endless self-reference today? Only on the practical level is it legitimate. I am thirsty. Fine, go get a drink of water. I had better sweep the floor. Maybe you should have done it a week ago. You want to have fun?
Yes.
Then get this, what we're getting here. That's fun. This is fun. I will ask you not to let the tape go on too long blank. Only blank minds make blank tapes.
There's a connection between the statement and the Bible. Only if the Father has called you do you come.
Yeah.
You can't save yourself.
That's right. We talked about the voice, the whisper that's calling down into our underground hell. Is the voice trying to reach any of you? Do you think the voice is trying to reach you? I will tell you something. You've heard the voice tonight. If you've been attentive, if you've been receptive, I will tell you that the voice has been in this room tonight. I know that. Do you know whether you were either resisting it or welcoming it? I know the voice was in this room tonight. Do you know it? Do you sense it a little bit? Even vaguely? I told you, it's vague at the start. You're not sure. Because hell has so many clanging noises. You can't hear the voice that is so soft at the start. This is why you have to stop your own hammering of the anvil down there. You hammer an anvil that's clanging in the ears. How can you hear something that's coming from up there? Just watch the devil when he looks away for a minute and miss a clang and go over the side of it. And you'll hear something right in the middle between your clanging of your thoughts and your feelings. You can choose to be called. If you don't understand what we've talked about tonight, if you're in doubt about this voice, simply choose to be called, and that is a prayer which God will answer. And you'll hear the voice, and for a long, long time you'll get it confused with the voice of your own sickness. The devil is a marvelous mimic. He is such a marvelous mimic that every church right now on Sunday is packed with people who believe they're hearing the voice of God when they're only hearing the voice of their own sickness, of their own memory, of their own desires. They call that the voice of God, and they don't see that the very hatred, the very conflict they have in themselves is the reality of their situation and not God. Liars will never leave hell. They have chosen lying as their hell, and they will have to pay the price for that. Don't you look, you think you're stuck with this class? You think you're going to come back? I'm not that easily fooled about any of you here. I know that the devil can take any of you out of this class if you're asleep. And goodbye to you. And even me saying this won't make any difference. Unless you listen to what I tell you, instead of you listening to your own sickness, instead of you listening to that sick husband or that sick wife or that sick sister or that sick friend or that sick clergyman or that sick parent. You had better pay pretty close attention as to who you are listening to. And you're listening to the devil most of the time. And you had better begin to distinguish between the mimicked whisper of the devil and the voice of God. And I'll tell you one way to do it. The life you have lived up to this point is a result of you listening to the devil. You want more of that? Then you just go ahead and listen to more of that. If you're tired of burning, if you're tired of being afraid, if you're tired of being a captive, then start to listen to what you're being taught in this class, and you come to every single meeting. You come to every single meeting unless there's a legitimate good reason. You have to work or you're on a trip or something like that. One final question or comment, if you have one.
You keep saying that we don't hear you. And I've noticed that tonight in myself. It seems like my head is just in that fog. Some of the things which you say do hit in a right place, but it seems to me that most of it is just, I'm just here like a body without a brain.
Yes, I understand that. And look, everything we say here is encouraging, but let me say this. If you hear one whisper out of 200 that are given to you in this room tonight, I congratulate you. If you hear just one, that means you want to hear. And if you want to hear the next meeting, you'll hear 2 whispers, then maybe 3 a few weeks from now, and more and more. As you're willing to see, hearing and understanding comes as a result of going deeper and deeper into the darkness. As you go deeper into the dark passage, I know how this sounds to you, but that's correct. As you go deeper and deeper into the dark passage, you are getting away from the false whispers of the devil. Therefore, you can begin to hear more that's on the other side, the whispers of heavenly things. So, just sitting here and being just a little bit willing. Never mind. I don't care. Look, sit here with the attitude, I don't care what happens to my present life because it's not worth saving. And it isn't. You know that. And I don't care how much the devil lies to you and tells you, hang on to it, this is all you've got, this is the only life you've got. You had better listen to me instead of listening to the devil. Do that and you'll come out on the other side and you'll be all right. Good night.
Good night.